Boston has officially revealed their new official NWSL team name, previously known as Boss Nation Football Club. They will now be called Boston Legacy Football Club. If you're with us live on YouTube, let us know what you would have named Boston NWSL, because after you make a name and then you pull it back and say, we're going to change, you go through 5 months of fan listening and research. They surveyed over 1,500 fans and brand professionals. That led to 500 name suggestions. Darian, they narrowed it down to 14 and they came up with Boston Legacy.
Y'all, it makes me laugh. Like, we have to laugh about it. It's not a horrible name. It's really not, but there's so many other ways they could have gone, and that big of a pool, and that it's legacy. No offense, but legacy of what? Of a kid. I don't really know. Like, McCall, I know you played for Boston for a little bit. When I was getting drafted, Boston, it was like Breakers, not a place that you really wanted to go. So I'm thinking the legacy of what? You could have gone with something cool. And I'm so tired of, I mean, I've said this, last year when we first started talking about Boston or something, about I'm so tired of NWSL teams' names just being kind of soft. Like, I think Pride needs to change. The Courage, I'm not a fan of the Courage. Like, give us something badass. These are badass women that go out on a pitch, badass players, that go out on the pitch and show out. There should be something that's just a little bit more oomph. But I'm interested to see what they do with it. Hell, I have zero expectations, so I'm just gonna laugh and enjoy the ride with Boston Legacy.
Do you like it,
It's
McCall?
It's better, but it's not best. I mean, it just shows to me that they think very highly of themselves. They went from the bosses of the nation to the legacy of the league without playing one game yet. But I kind of understand where they're going, knowing Boston a little bit. It's a very big sports area and a sports town, and they do have a lot of legacy in the sports industry with a lot of sports teams there. Okay, we'll go with the legacy of, the game. But for me, I'm just like thinking from like an eye level of like a player or even like a captain. I'm like, in the huddle, okay, guys, legacy on 3, 1, 2, 3, or just like, even when calling games or announcing games, like legacy, like that's 3 syllables. Like, that's a whole mouthful, legacy FC. But it is an improvement. So I'll end on the positive.
Yeah, I mean, from Boss Nation, you could really only go up, right? They as soon as they saw feedback, it was like, okay, we're going to change it. They still haven't announced a crest or the word mark. That'll come in the next coming months. But Darian, you alluded to Boston Breakers. They were in the NWSL from 2013 until 2017 before being relocated to become the North Carolina Courage. You were supposed to be drafted there. You didn't want to go there. Why didn't you want to go there?
Well, oddly enough, I ended up breaking my leg.
Terrible.
Before I got drafted, about a month before the draft, and the deal was like under the table. I was supposed to go to Boston, and I was relieved. I didn't hear good things about it. So breaking my leg before going to Boston actually ended up being a blessing, because then I became McCall's teammate at the Courage, had a decent career. Now look at us. We're on the up. But I just said they didn't have a professional setting. It was one of those teams that wasn't fully invested in. I mean, the legacy of Boston soccer isn't great on the professional front from the women's side. So that's why this name is kind of hilarious. But hell, if they come out swinging and win a national championship, let's run this clip back, because we'll all be laughing. But it's an odd name. Lisa, how do you feel about it?
I don't love it. I think it's a soft name. It's a safe name in terms of NWSL naming rights, right? There's a lot of different ways that a club can go, and I don't envy anyone that has to name a club by any means. It sounds really hard, and on top of making sure you're incorporating the culture and the fan base that you want to attract and the type of culture you want to have at a club, you also have to then go through like naming rights, right? You have to make sure it's approved by lawyers, and there's so many hoops you have to jump through. But the fact that there was a short list of 14 names after 500 name suggestions from fans, I would have loved to see some of those options, right? Even 5. It's especially because Denver is put in a very tricky situation right now because they are doing this alongside Denver, who was just announced as a club. And in going stride for stride, Boston had about a year head start of knowing they were going to be in the league. Where are they going to play? Their crest, their team name. And Denver has just done such an excellent job with the stadium renderings, with having a name being voted upon by the fans. They put out 6 names and said, vote, supporters, let us know what you want our team to be called. I mean, to me, it makes it that much more glaring that Boston is floundering a little bit in the water because they're doing it alongside Denver, McCall, who is succeeding at this point.
Well, I have to throw this out. Darian broke her legacy to save her from Boston. Okay, I'm done.
I mean, big facts.
But also they're both green. I'm like, what's up with that? Is Boston just kind of riding the coattail of Colorado? I thought that they could choose different color, different way to go about things, especially since they have that historical foundation with the Breakers that didn't go so well. I think they have their work cut out for them to kind of change everybody's mind and put a different taste of, women's soccer in the area in their mouth. So it starts with things that are tangible without playing a game yet, like a name, like their colors, like, their crest, everything that they can do. But it's not off to a great start, is it?
I mean, they don't have a tangible legacy. They don't have a legacy, and they're naming that they have one. So we have asked our A3 listeners to drop us some, and in the chat, we've got some really good ones. Boston Wicked Rippers, Boston Bees, Boston Ivy. Boston Ivy's kind of cool. Boston
That's
Folklore, cool. Boston Fearless. Kind of just sounds like Taylor Swift albums there with Folklore and Fearless. But do you like any of these, D?
I love Coven. I think Boston Coven is badass. I mean, thinking about it, the supernatural, powerful energy, I think reclaiming the word coven and witches and the folklore of Boston, which I know they said they don't want to lean into, but that is so unique to Boston. And thinking of how empowering that is to reclaim a word, reclaim this energy. You have strength in numbers. A coven is a group of women doing badass things and taking over. Imagine the mascots. Imagine everybody showing up with like witch hats.
That would be
I know
so
I'm going
cool.
a little OD because I love
That's what
Halloween,
I was thinking with the Wicked.
Yeah, like I think that's badass. And then it kind of would make sense, like, oh, green and black, like powerful, like a really, I mean, I'm in a Nigeria kit, but like this
Even
kind of
like
bright green,
deeper
like a
green.
highlighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
No, I
yeah.
like the highlighter, like powerful. And I think Coven would be badass. No
That's
other team
cool.
could ever pull that off. No other market
Supporters
could
groups could be
besides
doing like
Boston.
spells on the other team, like
Right?
yeah,
You
that
could
would
do so much fun, like pop culture fan engagement wise with that too, which is the world we live in. So I don't know. I think Coven was dope.
Coven's a pretty
big
good
fan
one.
favorite.
I like the ivy. That's kind of cool. It also feeds into the green. What about the Boston Rebels? It kind of plays into the history of Boston with
I like that too.
Did you just come up with that? It's pretty good.
I thought of it yesterday. That was the one during our meeting. I was like, I'm not going to tell you. I want to see your faces.
Word, please.
I like that one.
I'm just putting FC at the end of all of these and trying to make sense of it all. Like Ivy FC, Coven FC, Wicked FC.
It's interesting. But we got legacy, guys. We don't, unfortunately, have so many choices and options that we got to pick from. If A3 could do it, it would be a different story. But we got the legacy. So go legs, the leggies. What are you're calling it?
We're going to learn to love it. It's going to be fine. Go Legacy. Welcome to the league.
We're going to learn to love it. McCall, you're so positive. You're so right, though. Welcome to the league, Boston Legacy Football Club.